This is Screen Heroes. I am Ray, and I am here with some of my regular hosts. I say some because one is my regular host.
I'm very regular.
One is my regular host somewhere else.
I'm irregular.
Try more fiber.
I've been trying.
This is Ryan.
Hello.
And Ian.
Hi.
All right, guys.
It was very Sailor Moon of me.
Only for the people that have video. You have to remember this is a podcast, so
well,
not everybody has video.
The people who watch are very into,
all three of them.
Into you.
Yes.
So what brings us here today?
The Dark Tower.
Why did you say it like
I don't know,
that?
because it's dark and there's a tower.
Nobody asked you to do that.
Well, look.
No, in fact, I would prefer if you never did that
I
again.
took a creative difference.
Don't do that.
Don't be creative on this podcast. Do that. Save that for your own.
Okay. I won't be... I'll just shrink down into nothing.
All right. So yeah, we're talking The Dark Tower tonight. Movie was released earlier last week, I guess, on Thursday. That's when we saw it,
yes.
At least. Do we have any news before we get started? Derek is joining us from Canada.
Ooh,
and he said that his loaded right when Ian did the weird creepy voice.
We're sorry about that. Yeah. So was there any news this week?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot, but the original wearer of the Godzilla suit passed away this weekend.
Oh.
I do not know his name. I'm terribly sorry. I'm a bad geek, but...
I don't think you're a bad geek if you don't know that.
I don't know his name either, so it's okay.
Okay, fair enough. Well, it was sad.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, it's sad when anybody dies. I mean, I wasn't a fan of the original, Godzilla movies and everything, so it didn't really mean as much to me as it probably does other people. But yeah, it's condolences to his family and
absolutely
everybody involved. What else? There was some other news. I feel like that
Disney.
Inhumans is gonna be big news.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because it's gonna be so bad.
Yeah.
Scott Buck, get out of my Marvel.
So, Inhumans looks terrible. The panels for it looks terrible. The posters for it look terrible. I'm really only in it for the teleporting dog, and that's only going to keep me there for
as long as the merchandise lasts.
Yeah. Like, I want a pop and I want a stuffed animal, and that's it.
And then you're good.
Yeah, I really am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so... The big news, I think, this week was that, for the Inhumans, was that they did a panel, like, with a screening for some critics, and some critics were asking questions about why things, like, what are people's powers and things like that, because they weren't explained at all in the pilot.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, oh, the showrunner wasn't there, so he was like, I wish I had been there so I could have explained it to him. It's like, well, the show is supposed to do that, because not everybody has the showrunner sitting there explaining it to them.
Some of the actors were there. Do they not know what they're doing?
Well, the guy that's playing Black Bolt said that he felt like Ben Affleck after the BVS reviews. He said that on the panel when people started like criticizing the show in their questions. He said he felt like he was Sad Affleck. I don't know how to react to that.
Dude, I just can't even.
Ian's writing notes.
He said that I'm not supposed to mention the D word.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to write about The Rock. But the thing is, nobody pledged for that, so it doesn't matter. I can say
and she had already said the word anyway.
Well, I want to make sure. I'm like, don't say it.
Don't try and save her.
Look, as a co-host, I have to...
I'm going to give you bad punishments. Because I have that power. The only thing I do on this podcast is punish people. So.
Dirty. No, so Disney made a huge power move
They
today.
did, which was very...
First... You called it, too.
First...
Can we say that?
Yeah. What was the first big announcement? There was a first part to it, right?
So Netflix bought Miller World, I guess is what they're calling
the
it.
The Millerverse or the Miller World, whatever it is.
Basically, Kick-Ass and Kingsman is the main stuff out of it.
Which they got no movie rights to. Yeah. Everybody's like, they can make cool... No, they can't.
No TV series are coming out of this. And no movies are coming out of this.
They could out of the other
buy
properties, not Kingsman or Kick-Ass.
Yes, they could. What I think this is, Netflix wants to be Disney and Warner Brothers. They want to be a multimedia
conglomerate.
Exactly. And the way to do that is to tackle books, to tackle TV, to tackle internet, to have theme parks, and the next big step for them is comic books. So
it's odd because it recently, like in the last I think few weeks, they've come out and it's been public knowledge now that Netflix is $20 billion in debt.
I would say they waste even more money buying this.
Not me making it up.
Yeah.
So, and comic book properties are not, unless you're making movies and you're Marvel or DC, you're not really going to be making a ton of money,
No, what comic books serve as now are filler, or extensions, things that we never imagined are getting comic book sequels or fillers in between. And I think that's what they're going for. And I think for some of the properties like Stranger Things and Troll Hunters, it could be really fun and interesting. Those would sell.
Right.
However, I don't see people really giving a crap about Orange is the New Black filler. Like,
no.
Who cares?
Also, I mean, even if Stranger Things does sell really well, it's not like comic book companies are known for making millions of dollars. You know what I mean? Marvel was going bankrupt after being in business for however many years before they started the movie studio.
Absolutely.
So
that was what saved them. They sold off their rights to 4 or 5 different studios, and not everybody did something with it, but they just said, here, have everything, and we'll do what we can. And that's how they made back their money. It was with crap movies like Daredevil and Ghost Rider.
Hey, I kind of like Ghost Rider. It's a guilty pleasure.
I figured you did.
But I think the move, it's not a good move on their part because they are 20, was it billion or million?
20 billion
in debt. Like, what is this going to accomplish?
So Netflix is in that kind of debt because they've been buying up tons of small properties and making everything into TV shows. And they don't need to. They have successful stuff that break the internet on the day they come out. They don't need to have all these tiny little things. Like, Marco Polo was a good show, but stop spending millions of it. It's never going to be Game of Thrones. You know, you have House of Cards and Orange is the New Black
and all the Marvel
Stranger
properties.
Things. And
right now.
You have the ones making your money. Cut off some of that fat. Trim it. This is stupid.
I agree.
Well, and as somebody that cut the cable cord in the past year, I'm on Hulu way more than I'm on Netflix, and I hate that because Netflix I've been subscried to for a lot longer, but Hulu gets the shows like the next day, whereas Netflix usually has to wait till the end of a season, and it's I don't really want to wait that long. Usually, if I'm waiting for a show until the end of the season, it'll stream on the show's website. Like the CW has a CW seed, and you can go watch the shows the next day.
And another thing is, I go to Netflix for familiarity as well as new content. So, at 2 a.m, if I want to watch Tropic Thunder and I want to stream it,
which happens, I mean, come on, to all of us.
I use that example because that's exactly what happened last night.
I love Tropic Thunder.
That's hilarious.
That's exactly what happened last night. But there is less and less familiar titles on there every month because they come out with new content. And the thing is, if I wanted an original content and only that, then I would have to be watching at least 5 of your TV shows.
Yeah.
And I don't. I mean, not even HBO does that. They have familiar content on there as well. So that totally justifies HBO Go. But this is... It's
the only reason
ridiculous.
I get on Netflix anymore is to watch either The Office or Parks and Rec. Because I end up watching, but I think both of those are on Hulu also. So it's
True,
not like it's not like I don't know.
And
But
plus
Netflix, their properties are The Glow is really good. All the Marvel shows are really good. A lot of people like Orange is the New Black. I've never seen it.
It's good. I like it.
Stranger Things is
it
great.
wins
So they
some
do have.
Emmys. So.
Yeah.
I feel like they're more well known for their original series at this point than they are as a company to go watch The Office.
For sure. And also they, take out movies and TV shows all the time. So you could be watching something one time and then next month, guess what? Your favorite TV show is going to be gone in place of, some
or
kids'
all
cartoon.
the Marvel properties are going to be gone, which is the next part of the news story.
Good segue.
So, I think this is also a response to what happened a few months ago. About, I want to say 5 to 6 months ago, Disney announced that every single one of its films from every property they own was going to appear on Netflix. Yeah. So Henson, Lucas, Marvel, it was all going to be dropped on there. Well, that never happened. They released a couple films like Zootopia.
There are more Marvel movies on there now, too.
Yeah.
They have Civil War and Doctor Strange and some other Marvel movies on there
So their more recent ones are on there.
Yeah, the old ones not so
Moana,
much.
no. The old ones never got dropped.
No.
They a lot of them from the 90s got put on Hulu out of nowhere. But that never happened. That fell through. And then today it was announced that Disney's going to pull everything and have their own streaming. And honestly, for Disney, it makes sense. I mean, But
are they pulling everything just from Netflix or all media platforms?
I would assume every media is going to be affected. I mean, why keep your stuff on Hulu? Why keep your stuff on Amazon Prime?
Yeah, I mean, really what the goal... Disney has always been about doing things themselves, you know, and not the whole Netflix deal was convenience for them because that was already an established platform. But now, I mean, they own Marvel, they own Lucasfilm, and these are all things that have happened in the last 5 years.
Yes.
So now they're like, well, we've got all these big properties. Why don't we just do it ourselves? And then with Netflix, I mean, obviously this isn't completely in response to the Netflix thing because Netflix, I'm sure, has been negotiating their deal, and Disney has probably been negotiating their deal for a long time. Maybe Disney got wind. I mean, who knows? But I think that a lot of it is in response to. It's just funny that it all happened in the same week. It's not coincidence.
Now, my question is: do you think it's going to affect the already in pre-production of Daredevil season 2 and Jessica Jones?
Well, I imagine they have a contract with Netflix to produce a certain number of series, so they'll continue producing those series. And if they're successful on that platform, it wouldn't surprise me.
If Disney says you can keep these.
Yeah, because if they did, let's say, season 3 of Daredevil on Netflix, and then season 4 of Daredevil on Disney Stream, or whatever they're going to call it, then people would be very confused because they couldn't go watch 3, 2, and 1.
I agree.
Dex brought up a good point. He said that so far... it just specified Disney and Pixar, that Marvel and Lucasfilm's up in the air, and I would imagine that includes Henson. And
right now, I believe that's definitely true. But I think it's foolish to think that's going to remain that way. Why would you give somebody else all the rights to stream your content when you have your own streaming service? That's probably what it starts out as, and I imagine in the next year and a half, it's going to be everything.
Absolutely. I would also imagine that if there's something that Netflix gets to keep, it's probably the Marvel series, since they had a hand in a lot of it.
It'll only be those 4, unless there's been contracts signed that they haven't.
Yeah.
Or 5, because Defenders. But, 6, because Punisher. Because you have each of the 4 Defenders, then Punisher, and they've already announced coming out this year.
So there's that. Big deal. Money getting switched around hand to hand.
Speaking of money switching hands, HBO got hacked.
Oh, yeah?
That's a big... so HBO got hacked recently. They leaked a Game of Thrones full script for an upcoming episode. Like a finalized script, not some, rewrite, not a, pre-script or anything. It was a full script.
That ain't good.
No, and on YouTube, they released several clips of... about 5-minute clips of this past Sunday's episode before, 4 or 5 days before it aired, so it spoiled a whole lot of stuff. And
a whole lot of people.
Now they are demanding a ransom from HBO.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It sounds like the Sony hack all over.
Because they hacked into their emails and stuff. They know, what characters are going to die and what, so they can easily release that information. And seeing as how Game of Thrones is one of the most watched shows and one of the most shows that characters get killed off just whenever.
Right.
If they release that information, it's going to explode.
I imagine so. However, I also feel like even as a casual fan who's watched probably 1 episode from every season, and that's about it, I could tell you who's gonna die way before.
See, as a hardcore fan, I love it, but you don't know who's gonna die, though. You think you do, and someone else just gets axed, and you're like, what?
I don't think that would affect things as much as everybody thinks. I don't watch Game of Thrones, but I watch The Walking Dead, and there's actual websites out there called Spoil the Dead and things like that. And if you're interested in spoilers, you can go search those things out. But when the episodes are filmed, they have people all around the set taking pictures and everything else, so they can tell you who's on set that day, who's not on set that day, what scene, so you pretty much know how the film or how the episode's going to go. And then on top of that, they have someone in the production that that gets early screeners every time and gives a complete description of the episode a week before it airs. So and you only really hear about that if you go out and search for it. So I don't think it'll be as big of a deal unless people want spoilers. If they want spoilers, then that's on them. That's not the way the story's being told.
You seek it out, that's one thing.
Exactly. See, I don't want spoilers personally, so
then you won't go search for it.
No, I hope that
doubt
HBO
people will just be throwing
them
on Facebook and stuff, but No, I don't think HBO needs to pay them. I think that would set a precedent.
No, they said a statement saying we're not. Go away.
Yeah, HBO. That's small
HBO
fish.
doesn't care.
No,
because those people are still going to watch the episode. It's not like
Yeah.
It's not like people are just going to read a description of who dies each episode and then stop watching.
Darn, well, no more.
Well, because then it becomes, how did they die? And
what
led up to it?
Yeah, and what's the story? Because there's an actual story beyond people dying, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that covers news, so we can bust into the Dark Tower like the Man in Black tried to with his children mind rape trick, whatever.
Should we do like a spoiler-free review first and then dive right into spoilers?
Spoiler-free review in 5 minutes or less. Go.
Wait, I get to spend 5 minutes?
No, like the
or
three
less.
of us.
Or less.
Mine's really easy. If you're a fan of the book, don't go see it. If you're not a fan of the book, don't go see it.
Okay. I wasn't a fan of the book, and I liked it.
I'm not surprised.
Shut up. Did you read the book, though?
No.
Okay. Well, then...
How can you not be a fan of the book?
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant. I didn't read the book. Excuse me. I did not read the book, and I enjoyed it.
Okay.
But we know people who read the book, and they enjoyed it, so... Yeah.
I don't really know what to say. It was very underwhelming. The best parts were the casting of the two main characters, Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba, as always, do a really good job with what they're given. However, what they were given was not very good, and I can't imagine a 30-year book series with, 8 different novels really sucks this bad, so
with millions of fans across the world, so yeah, I think it's fair to say that the books do not suck that bad. It's
more so the movie itself.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just kind of
let's just spoil it.
If you haven't seen it, then now you need to.
Now's the time to go away.
Yep.
Yeah. So spoilers from here on out. We can bust into some numbers here. So this movie won opening weekend, and I only think that's because it was...
Wait till you say the number, because who cares about...
Well, it was up against Dunkirk in its second week and Emoji Movie in its second or third week.
Yeah.
So, which failed hardcore anyway.
But
it won with 19 million.
Yeah.
So one of the slowest movie weeks of the summer.
It is the slowest movie week of the summer, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty terrible.
It's got a whopping 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, 34 on Metacritic, and 6.0 on IMDb. IMDb is always so forgiving, so
they are.
When it still had such a low number, I mean, that is low for IMDb. It really is. Like, if you're a superhero in tights, you're usually getting like an 8 at least. So this is kind of sad. Director Nicolas Jarcel, joining Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey. Tom Taylor plays the unnecessary Jake Chambers. Fran Kranz, Jackie Earle Haley, and Claudia Kim, all really good actors shoved in really minor roles.
Who's Fran Kranz? Who's...
Okay, he was in Dollhouse and Cabin in the Woods.
That's where I know him from! The bong guy.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now I know where. Okay.
He's always smart, nerdy guy.
I could not picture where he was from.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yes. Thank you.
But yeah, they're all really good actors, and they were just shoved into these really minor roles.
Is Jackie, or is that the Allstate guy?
No, that's the guy that was Rorschach. Watchmen. And
the Allstate guy was in it.
Okay.
He's also Freddy in the new Freddy movie.
Yeah, so the Allstate guy.
He was in it.
No joke. So there's the death scene of the Allstate guy. He plays Idris Elba's dad, and it looks so good. They connected really well. They had nice chemistry.
That seemed to make sense, but yeah.
Well, when he grabbed his hand and said, "As long as you stand, as long as the Dark Tower stands, we haven't lost," I was like, "As long as you have Allstate." And I laughed so hard because I'm funnier.
Yeah.
Ryan's not amused.
When he came on the screen, I go, "Oh, Allstate."
Exactly.
Yeah.
That poor guy. But it's his own damn fault. Can you imagine Flo in anything else at this point?
No.
That would be weird.
Right?
the Can You Hear Me Now guy, like, it's a miracle he's working with Sprint now.
Like,
Flow is actually worth like $15 million.
Right.
Oh, I imagine.
It's ridiculous.
I imagine.
All right, so let's talk about the plot of this movie, because...
Wait, there was a plot?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The plot was so simplistic. Like, it was...
You take in the Dark Tower, evil things come.
Yeah.
The end.
I can't see how that benefits the Man in Black at all. Like, already, he kind of rules over everybody. Everyone's scared of him.
Because it's not everybody, because there's a whole other world for him to go into.
Multiple ones.
There's many worlds.
Yeah.
Well, I went with somebody who's a large fan. I don't mean she's large. I mean the fan. Her fandom is large of the Dark Tower,
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, from what I understand, because I've never read the books, that all the Stephen King books are universes within the universe of the Dark Tower. And you got a little hint of that at the little Pennywise thing, which was...
Where was that? I missed the Pennywise.
It's when he's sitting...
The amusement park, when he's like, why do you have an amusement park? There's
it's called
Pennywise.
Pennywise.
Oh, I totally didn't.
And there's also Misery's book on the station that Pimley, whatever his name is doing stuff. You see Misery's child, which is, Misery.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of Stephen King connections in this movie.
That I completely believe. And it's always made sense to me that things like Christine, Cujo, Pet Sematary, Carrie, they could all happen in the same city. In fact, makes way more sense to me that way if they all take place in this Derry, Maine. However, like, I was always really curious how the Dark Tower fit into that. I was like, what you doing?
They can open portals and go there.
Yeah.
The end.
Well, so... I was looking up reviews, what critics had to say, and most of it praised Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey. Those two, like I said earlier, do really well with what they're given, but this one critic said something very interesting. He said they had two options. They make Idris Elba into the next Clint Eastwood, and it's just a blood splatter of demons and, rated R goodness, or they go the young adult route and focus on the kid, and they chose the latter, and it was a bad move.
I don't know if the other move would have been any better. I mean, realistically, so yes, Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey are both good actors. I thought Matthew McConaughey was cringy the whole time. I didn't buy him as this evil presence at all. It was like, okay, he's trying to be evil, but I don't really get it. And that probably is due to the direction, because it also affected Idris Elba. I'm pretty sure the director said, okay, your character, emotionless. All you have to do is be stoic the entire movie, and you're good. Because there was... As much as I love the dude, there was virtually no acting in the movie at all. It was just him like talking and keeping the same face the entire movie.
There was no emotion.
Yeah, and maybe that's the character. But if that's the character, then we need to know why the character is that way, because there's nothing to tell us.
I assume it was like that because his dad died, and
but even in the scene with his dad, he wasn't like super emotional.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
His dad was dying right there, and it was barely registered any emotion.
So, the kid had the most range, I would say.
No, they said,
his character
make a bunch of shocked faces, and that's what the kid did for 90 minutes. I mean, legitimately, every face was like... or like tears and like a shocked face. It was, I mean, yeah, he got a little bit more to work with, but it was still brutal.
He kept saying throughout the film that Idris Elba's character, the gunslinger, didn't like him. And I was like, what?
Yeah, where did you get that from?
How did you, like, he's protecting you?
Yeah, he's risking his life.
He took a demon leg to the arm for you? Like, I don't understand that at all.
The kid's also like, 12, so he doesn't really know.
So I actually didn't have as much of a problem with it. I usually don't like kid actors, but I didn't think he was as bad as, like, Mowgli from
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, he was actually a very good child actor.
But the friend, his friend... That
was weird.
It was bad. Like, that acting was
he
not
looked like
good.
an alien in, like, skin.
It was... His friend was not good.
You mean like Tony Shalhoub's kid?
Yeah.
God, he did not...
Yes.
He was not... They should not have him act in anything.
No, because he was like... I could have sworn at one point he looked into camera and, like, they just kept that scene in because they're like, well, we can't redo it, so...
I think the mom got the best, like... If I had to pick a character that got the most interesting... role in the movie, then that was her, because she actually got to show some range. She had a troubled kid, she got murdered, she's got mind manipulated,
she watched her husband die.
She watched her husband die. She got a lot of stuff to do, and that's the most interesting role for me. Everybody else, I don't know. You really wasted a lot of good people.
So I'll say this now. I absolutely hate the trope of the seer because they're always so calm and cool, collected, and they just mean nothing to me. Like even in The Matrix, the Oracle, she meant nothing to me. She
was too calm and cool.
They're just awful. Like if you know that much, if you can see that far into the future, or
I'll be just like scatterbrained, like running around everywhere, and
yeah. So I never liked it. I like Claudia Kim in what I've seen her before, but no.
Yeah, I mean, she was fine, I guess. Yeah, you're right about it being tropey, but that was probably written that way in the books. I don't know. It was...
Because the books are old, aren't they?
That.
The books are like 30 years. Well, the first one
came out in 1982. The last one came out in 2012.
Okay.
And they're not all consecutive. He's written them in different timelines of each other. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an intense series from what I understand to follow, and there was a lot of high hopes from fans on this, and
almost jumped on board when they came out with the comic series, but that's been going for 6-7 years now, and I'm so far behind, so that's not going to happen.
And this movie, I don't think, for me personally, like when I went to go see the movies in the theaters, I didn't see really one trailer attached to any other movie. I didn't see any TV spots for this movie. The marketing for this movie sucked.
So yeah,
horribly.
I didn't see any TV spots for it. The only time I saw trailers for it was when I went and saw a couple of other movies.
See, I didn't really see any.
I saw it when I went.
I saw one for Wonder Woman.
What's the new Luc Besson? The Fifth Element guy.
Valerian.
I saw a preview for it when I went and saw Valerian, and I was like, I mean, that looks pretty cool.
Right.
They showed some of the gunplay and like the basic premise, and I thought it looked interesting, and I was on board with it. So
basically, everything good in that movie was in the trailers, I think.
And even some of the stuff that was good in the trailers didn't work as well in the actual.
There was
movie.
some bad CGI on his bullet flicking thing in a couple scenes.
Oh, when he flicks it into the gun.
I think my biggest offender was actually at the fight at the end. There was so much CGI going on between Matthew McConaughey holding out the glass and the rocks and then the bullet flicking, and like it was just a little too much for me.
Can we talk about the gunslinger himself a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it. We can talk about whatever you want.
I had a lot of problems. Like that was the most character going in that I was like, this guy's going to be cool.
Right.
And he wasn't. Like I had a lot of problems with him. So, first of all, he's useless, right? Without a gun. He literally can't punch anybody or do anything. He once his guns are out of his hand, he just gets his butt kicked the entire time. There's nothing good that he does without his guns other than scramble for his guns. And I get it, he's a gunslinger, but you'd think that somebody that is training to like fight injustice and things like that.
He would have like a knife or something. He would be able to do
He flat out said that he's a descendant of King Arthur.
Yeah. And his guns were forged from Excalibur.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool idea.
that is a really awesome storyline there. That is so cool. And he's useless. Like, those knights had to be...
Yeah. Like, when they lost their sword, they were still fighters and warriors.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They, like, to be part of the round table, you had to be good at hand-to-hand combat, the joust, you know.
You had to be a good person. Yeah. You know, there was a lot of rules.
Sword fighting, it was intense.
So that was a huge problem, right? I mean,
I do agree.
That pulled me away. Okay, and then he talks about in the movie. There's one line where that was in the trailers too, where he's like, "Our guns is hard to, or our bullets is hard to find on your Earth as it is in this Earth." And the kid's like, "Oh, you're gonna love Earth." Well, he just shot like 100 bullets randomly in that fight with the demon.
Yeah.
He just wasted. There's nothing in the movie that makes you feel like bullets are hard to find. He's literally just shoveling them into his gun as fast as he can.
I thought it was like a magic trick. He would just take them out of his sleeve, just like...
stupid throwaway line that made no sense. There was nothing qualifying it or, nothing to validate it. It was just crap.
I mean, I did not like that line, but I thought it was one of the better lines in the movie, to be honest. It was
funny.
Only because it intrigued me to see what he would be like on Earth.
Which I liked him on Earth. He was funny on Earth.
I liked the fish out of water. I liked him telling the doctor no. I liked him telling the girls on the bus that they had forgotten the face of their father.
Yes, that was funny. Yes.
That was my favorite part. It was just the fish out of water storyline because I felt like that's where Idris Elba shined. And
that I liked the shot that when he, was like, everything was quiet and then he found the person running around with what's his face?
That was cool.
In the cornfield, I don't know.
But that kind of
shot him.
That kind of segues into another problem I had with this character.
Let's segue then.
Unless you guys had something else.
No, go for it.
So that line, right? That whole, the creed for the gunslingers.
Yes.
Why do we care about that? What the heck does that you've forgotten the face of your father have to do with anything? I mean, I get that there's a little bit of relevance to both of these characters because they both lost their father, but that creed has been around for hundreds of years in previous gunslingers and everything else. So it wasn't like they wrote it.
They didn't specify what is the important significance of a father on this world.
Or the face of your... What does that have to do with anything? And that's the crux of the final fight. The climax of that fight is built around that line.
I shoot with my heart, not with my gun.
I've forgotten the face of my father. So that was a big problem.
Papa, can you hear me?
And when he said it to those girls, it was funny, but it doesn't mean, like...
No.
It means as much to those girls as it did to the viewers, because the viewers have no context.
No, you're totally
whatever,
right.
we had daddy issues anyway, and then... No.
Yeah.
We had daddy issues.
Is that what it is? Is that everybody that shoots people has daddy issues or something? I mean, I don't know. That was dumb. Also, the Excalibur guns, cool idea, but they just happen to shoot .45 caliber, the same caliber we have in this world that, it's just... Come on. I mean, were these forged recently? Because I'm pretty sure 45 has only been,
And the thing is, like, this is what happens when you try to...
Connect too much.
Well, they flat out said that they're not trying to adapt any one book. Mistake. They wanted to expand on it. And you didn't. You tried to pull a Queen of the Damned where you shove 3 books into one movie. Big mistake.
Did they end up combining books for this movie? Do you know?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they combined a lot. And they decided to just go ahead and change a lot too. And not just like small things, I guess, but a lot of the fans are saying they changed part of the lore. And what that is, I don't know. I've never read the book, so if you know, please let us know. I'm interested in knowing what they changed. But the idea was made so that the story starts intentionally in the middle of the action instead of at any one beginning thing, which is
interesting way to start a movie. But
and then the script was written with the idea of sequels.
I mean, that's when I started reading more about this movie after I saw the trailer. I was thinking that they were trying to start a Stephen King verse, right? Why wouldn't you? Everything is a movie universe right now.
And you have 8 books to go off of.
Exactly.
You have 8 Dark Tower books to go off of, and then you have material from all these other books that are supposed to take place in the same universe. So why, you could go so many different directions.
Exactly.
With it. But I don't feel like they tried to set up a universe in this movie. I know it says that, but I didn't get that feeling at all.
Here's the thing. So there's a rumor going on right now, and it's just a rumor, that Matthew McConaughey's character, the Man in Black, makes a cameo appearance in the new It movie. And they're going to start tying things together.
That is just crazy.
There is that's just the rumor. I don't know I don't know how he would fit in that movie, honestly, but if he
probably
would,
the same way that Pennywise fit in this movie.
If he would, it would connect him.
Background or something.
Or
it could have been one of the kids' drawings or something.
Yeah. So they're going to try and connect supposedly that in this in some way, but I don't know.
That seems silly to me.
I agree.
At best.
Unless Pennywise is some minion to the Man in Black.
Here's the thing. I don't read a lot of Stephen King. I don't know a lot of Stephen King. I've read it about 4 or 5 times. I'm so excited for that adaptation next month.
It looks scary. Will you go see it with me and hold my hand?
Yes, sweetie.
Thank you.
Yes, it does look scary. They did a good job just with the trailer. But I don't... Like, it looks so much better than the Dark Tower.
The only connection I can see to that movie and then the Man in Black possibly being in it is Pennywise taking the kids for Man in Black to do his experiments on. That's the only way I can see it happening.
But even then, Pennywise being a harbinger for him is... Nah.
I agree.
It's
but
not as fun anymore.
I can see them doing that.
Black is dead.
Yeah,
but he's alive in the other books, so he comes back.
Okay. Well, I mean, at this point,
that's what I was told.
The movie got an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's probably not going to.
The character died at the end of the movie. I feel like this isn't a superhero movie.
No, yes.
Bringing back characters makes everything less relevant.
Unless you have a really good way of doing it, which
based on the way this movie was written and acted, and directed, I don't think that they would be able to pull that off, personally.
Right.
The gunplay and the trailers, to me, looked really cool. I thought the, like, bullet changing thing and the thing in midair, like they did in Kick-Ass with, like, the guns flung down the clips and stuff. That was really cool in the trailer. In the movie, bad. Poorly executed. You're right. The CGI wasn't very good. I didn't think it was that as cool. You know, they kept trying to do different ways for him to reload, and it just made it look like they were in a room at a table going, okay, so we can have him throw his bullets in the air for one. Then we can have him go like this with bullets for another one. Then we can have him get a belt from the real world and just go like this and scoop bullets in. I was like, okay, guys, come on. What are we doing here?
I thought it looked cool, but the one thing that kind of took me out of it, which is it's a weird thing that I noticed with this movie, was the music for it. Whoever composed the music for it, the score, did not have the right emphasis for certain things. Like that final battle had like hardly any music in it.
Yeah, that was awkward.
They could have done something really cool, like when he reloads his guns or whatever, but the music fell flat, and I thought it didn't help anything.
You're totally right. Music definitely pulls you out of the film here and there. I had that issue with Guardians 2. Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do with the music that they used from the time period, but the original score. For some reason, the composer decided to make a noise every time Star-Lord was sad and had, like, they panned in on him. It was the same noise, and I noticed it after the second one, and I So it was the same thing. I was not captivated during the final showdown, I guess, and it was because the music was off. It sounded weird and flat. And...
See, for me, for the final showdown, what pulled me out was Matthew McConaughey going like this. Like, I mean, okay, so in Scarlet Witch is acting and she makes her hands do fluid motions. Those are actual, like, there's a coach on set that shows her is based on something. I don't know what it's based on, but it looks more natural. The way that Matthew McConaughey was doing it was not good. This is the worst acting for, like, telekinesis type powers I've ever seen.
I was surprised with him because normally I don't like Matthew McConaughey. Like, I liked him in Dallas Buyers Club, and that was about it. I don't like him at all. But his character was fun seeing him play a villain, but I agree, the portrayal of it wasn't the greatest.
I don't think it's his fault. I think the villain could have been more interesting. I think a lot of things in the movie could have been more interesting.
It's an easy cosplay, though, let me tell you what.
Easier than the gunslinger, that's for sure.
Yeah.
His backstory has got to be the most interesting thing ever. Why doesn't he like using his real name, Walter? How did he get those powers? Because from what Roland says over and over again, he was a normal guy at one point. How did this happen?
Why can Roland randomly resist the powers and they never get an explanation for it?
I'm betting they're related.
Well, so they say here that there
was or something.
This one weapon that he had, and I don't remember the gunslinger having it at all. It's called the Horn of Eld, and I guess in the books, it restarts his life, and he can start his path all over again.
Yeah, I don't think he had
with his previous knowledge. It said he already
that Matthew McConaughey's character can do that.
The gunslinger. And this is something.
So it shouldn't be a big deal if his dad dies. He can just
restart.
This is something that he gets at the end of the books. Oh. So this is why people think that it's, this is more of an expansion as opposed to a sequel or as a adaptation. And to me, like, if the director says it's in there, where was that? What was that? What did it look like?
I didn't see it. Why didn't he use it?
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't you just be like, I'm sorry, just pause, restart?
Well, he could only do it once, from what I read, I guess. And
so it's like the device from Galaxy Quest. Nobody knows what it does, and then they can use it once, and it's gone forever.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it just rewinds things like 30 seconds.
Yeah. This time stone, basically, is what they're going for.
I guess.
They're pulling a Doctor Strange.
Even so, like, I don't know. In a lot of articles, they made it out to be this really big thing, and I didn't see it once. I don't remember what it looked like.
That's a big thing for the people that have read the books. Yeah. Oh, look, a thing I know! And it's not really that exciting for anybody else.
Yeah.
That's my bet anyway.
I don't
know. That weapon would have been really cool. I don't know why.
Is it like an actual like horn?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Is it a trumpet? He can just and then
that'd be hilarious. I want my magical time traveling restart button to be a giant trumpet. You have to play a certain cadence.
You should play a bard.
Oh yeah? Thank you.
Yeah, in D&D, you'd be very happy with that. So, why, when he went into the gun store, didn't he get like a machine gun or something? Maybe. Like, I get that his guns are forged from Excalibur, but does that make him special in some way, other than the fact that
that made me mad too? Like, why didn't they say, okay, these are made from Excalibur? Cool. Expand on that. What can they do that makes them so special? Yeah. Can they go through certain things?
Are the bullets magical? Because he just got bullets from Earth.
Can they kill, certain creatures? What?
So, in the Arthurian legend, anybody who has Excalibur gets to rule. Well, clearly that's not the case anymore.
Yeah. So, other than being related or forged from the metal of Excalibur, it really has nothing to do with it. But if he could do all that cool stuff with a revolver, imagine what he could do with, like,
AK-47.
Or an M16 or something, or an Uzi. Give him Jack Burton's gun from Big Trouble in Little China, and he can put a MAC-10 or whatever that's called. And
maybe it's because he only knows how to use a 6-shooter.
Okay. Yeah, but then I guess
he doesn't know what a clip is. He's like, I don't know how to put this in.
But he knows what a 45 is. I mean, I don't know. It's just there's a lot of weird things going on with that.
I agree. This is.
Also, he literally is in a store full of guns, and he just asked the guy for some 45 bullets. You didn't think you might need more than that fighting
It's funny because the more and more we talk about this, the more and more I realize how god-awful this movie is.
Right?
Well, you said you liked it.
I did, but now we're talking about it, I'm like, oh, I do remember that. Oh, yeah.
So that's my issue.
Maybe I just repressed all of it.
While I'm watching them. I have a lot of fun, and I usually get really wrapped into it. But it takes a while for it to just sit there
and sink in. And
you're like, the more I talk to Ryan and Derek about it, the more I hate things. Yeah. Like, I really liked Spider-Man Homecoming when I left it. And then talking about it, I was like, this is just the worst. Like, what is going on?
Me and Derek are good at destroying things you love.
I know. It's true.
Womp womp.
Like this water bottle. I got a text from him saying it was way too loud. Yeah. So I am so parched right now.
Well, every time you drink out of it for like the last 3 podcasts, because you've been using a water bottle, not the same one, mind you, but and every time I hear it crunch, 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 I go, Derek's gonna say something. But he's not here to do it. He can only do it via text right now.
Yeah, now he just texts me and tells me how awful it is.
That's so lit. So, this movie is supposed to be spawning what, a TV show, right?
No, TV show is simultaneously being created.
And is Idris Elba in it?
No.
I thought he was a part of it. Or he's maybe like doing like an episode and that's it.
I think maybe. Okay. But, I mean, it's about the gunslinger. It's about Roland.
So then you'd have Idris Elba in it. You can't have anyone else.
Except there's more than one gunslinger. Gunslinger is like a brotherhood in the movie. It's not one guy. His dad was a gunslinger. You know, he had all these. It's like the Knights of the Round Table, except in this universe. Except that apparently the Knights of the Round Table existed in this universe because Excalibur.
Whatever.
Found a sword. Let's make a gun out of it. Cling.
That is such an American thing to say.
It is. It is. Yeah.
So we saw the Golden Circle or whatever the Kingsman.
The Kingsman, yeah.
We saw that preview beforehand, and the gunplay in that from the 6 shooters was way cooler than what ended up being in a movie about a gunslinger, like
the skipping rope.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. Also, okay, so at the very end, after he kills the Man in Black, the engineer that designed that hideout is probably the same guy that did the Death Star. Why in the world would you make a hideout for an evil villain in a world full of gunslingers that are the bad guys that can be destroyed by a single bullet?
See, and that's why I want to know how they're connected. Because it goes much deeper than just, this guy killed my pa. Like,
Well, but there's been gunslingers around for 100 years, and you're designing a building that can be destroyed with a single bullet, knowing that these guys have basically superhuman powers.
I'm wondering, was he a gunslinger?
Who?
The Man in Black? Is that...
Maybe. I can see that. Maybe he was like a former gunslinger. Now he's down to
now he turned into a magic user. I don't know. I don't buy that as much, but
terrible roll of the die.
Which can we also talk about these weird skin people for like 2 seconds, please?
Oh my god, please!
Can we? Because
I actually kind of thought those were cool.
The concept was cool, but are they? did he create them? Were they like already there?
I feel like he didn't create them. I feel like they're like a race that's like a subservient race in this world that because he came into power, took over, and he doesn't like looking at their natural faces, so he's go get yourself a face, because they show like the market or whatever where you can go get your face. So obviously it's,
which is very weird.
Yeah,
it's very like body snatchers.
Yeah.
There was a lot of problems.
It was a weird little movie.
Gosh, so my theory on where they should have started instead of this movie is they should have started with a movie about the gunslingers, because that's the coolest part of this movie, and that's what people care about. So if you had a movie about the gunslingers, and towards the end you had introduced a young Idris Elba learning from his dad, the Allstate guy, then there's a connection, right? And this stuff means a lot more. You get to learn why the face of the father is relevant.
And it also could have been like the small rise of the Man in Black at the end.
Yeah, well, you could have had that be still the opposition of the gunslingers, and at the end he's not dead; he's just dormant or something, or he's rise to power, and the movie ends with
them wondering
a smaller wrap up.
It's the Empire ending, where it's not good, and
Yeah. I mean, that's what they should have started with. Also, do gunslingers just like pass down Excalibur guns, or is he so special that he gets the Excalibur guns? Those are all things that I want. Yeah. I would,
because he didn't take his dad's guns, right?
No, he had those guns. Those were the same guns he had. So I mean, if they started with that,
his dad's got to be an Arthurian ancestor as well. It's not just him,
or his mom was one of the two.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Either way, it wasn't explained
at all. Who cares about mothers? There's
one or two women in this movie, and they were both damsels essentially, and
they were bad. The women in this were bad.
I thought that the mom was really well acted, and she did a good job with it. But she was there only to service.
She was a filler character.
The plot of the movie, and not.
She's great. That's Catherine Winnick, and she's from Vikings.
I didn't know her from anything else, but she was great.
So the director, has he done anything else, or is this his big breakthrough to Hollywood?
I don't know.
Because the name does not sound familiar at all.
Nicolas Jarcel. I can't imagine he's gonna do much more after this. Because if they're gonna continue, they're passing this on to somebody else.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely, his hands are not going to be on it again.
So honestly, this one would be a really good Snyder property, because he does really well with beautiful visuals and superficial stories.
That I can see.
That he could I'm not saying anybody that's a fan of Dark Tower, I'm not saying it's a superficial story. I'm saying that this is a property where it could be more superficial than what they tried to do in this movie, and it would have been, I think, more successful, and it would have been the visuals. For what you can do with a gun and all these other interesting things, the magic, the telekinesis, all that stuff would have looked really cool. And the tower, I didn't have a problem with the way the tower looked.
The tower wasn't there for like a minute.
Why did they make the tower so thin so it's easily knocked over, right? Like, if you're going to make a tower...
It looked like the Tower of Sauron.
And it balances the entire world.
Let me set up a
eyeball up top. I'm like,
let me set up a toothpick here, and it's going to balance the fate of the world. If it falls, then all the worlds are going to be covered in demons. Sorry about that.
Oopsie. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. So he did the Swedish version of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo trilogy.
See, I love those though.
No, Naomi Rapace.
Naomi Rapace.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, that one.
All right, those are actually pretty critically acclaimed.
I've never heard her say her name, therefore I don't know the correct pronunciation. That's the only way.
I think it's Naomi Rapace.
I will look. Sure. I will look, because I feel bad not knowing an actress's name. But yeah, they are. So maybe this is just him getting over his head.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't imagine the budget was that huge for this movie. I feel like the budget was probably pretty modest for what the CGI
Say 55 to 65 million,
probably.
It feels like a video game film. It feels like Assassin's Creed. It feels like...
That movie was so bad.
I feel like
it feels like a Resident Evil...
I could see that, like, budget-wise and CGI-wise and everything, I mean, the actual feel of the movie, for me, it felt better than most of the video game movies I've seen, which is saying something, but I don't know. I could see that, definitely. I don't know if that's what I would have said specifically, but I could definitely see how somebody could pick it that way. Either way, it was...
Yeah.
It should have been more. So get a bigger budget with a better director, and I think that you could keep the same cast, maybe not the same writers.
Yeah, but Stephen King, he played a role in this? Like,
yeah, The director said that he was heavily involved before and after he came on board.
I'm betting he wasn't in the editing room.
I bet.
No.
I bet he showed up to set a few days.
He's like, this looks great.
Maybe a table read. And was like, guys, I'm really excited that you're going to pay me so much money. And then left.
This could be one of those things where they shot maybe 5 or 6 hours worth of footage and more than half of it ended up on the cutting room floor. We don't know.
Yeah.
So something interesting about this movie, and I'm not sure who was it. Sony that produced this movie.
Yes.
Something that Sony has done with several of their latest movies is when they're not confident about the movie, is they don't do any press screenings until the Wednesday before the movie releases.
And that's saying something.
Because the movie industry as a whole right now is really focused on Rotten Tomatoes and other aggregate type sites.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk BVS because BVS was a big one in this market where the reviews came out 3 weeks early. I think we saw it 2 weeks early.
We did.
And the reviews were not good. And the Rotten Tomatoes score was 30% for a while.
Yeah.
And that they think that was the reason the movie wasn't successful. And since then, there's been several movies that came out with a similar thing. So now what Sony's doing to combat that is releasing the movie on the Wednesday before and hoping that they don't have time to write the reviews before the Thursday night showings in that opening weekend. And I think that kind of has worked because the last few movies they've done that for has all opened. They've all opened bigger than what they predicted. Because of that. There's one studio, I can't remember what it was, that they didn't let any showings happen until Friday morning, and then the film released Friday night.
Yeah.
Because they're so scared of what Rotten Tomatoes is going to do to a movie that they don't.
It wasn't Star Wars, was it?
It wasn't Star Wars, no. But that would be for a different reason.
Right.
Star Wars would be. But these are movies that the studio is not confident in.
The sooner they premiere it to the special fans and the press, the more confidence they have. That's why Civil
War was a month, right?
Yeah,
3
we
weeks?
saw it a month beforehand. We had to keep that under
and that was a full.
That was rough.
That was a full finished.
Yeah, absolutely.
Movie, right?
We did not see.
Yeah, there was no unfinished CGI. That was the movie that released. I think they might not have had the after credits scenes.
Yeah, we didn't have an after credits scene. We didn't have a trailer ahead of time either. So.
No, it was just the movie, but. They were very confident in that movie. And Wonder Woman, they were doing showings a week before or more. And BVS, they were doing showings a week before. But that was kind of early on in the whole Rotten Tomatoes kind of fest. Hatred
now
fest.
For some reason, Rotten Tomatoes can make or break your film. And to me, that sucks.
Oh, I totally agree.
Rotten Tomatoes has the worst score out of any of these, and most of the movies we get the scores for, they have the worst score. And I don't know why that is. I can't tell you why. Maybe more people use it. Maybe people are harsher. Maybe
people read one thing about it and they're just like, well, that's my opinion too, probably. I'm not going to go see it.
Something that people don't, I'm not saying you don't understand this, but something a lot of maybe our listeners don't understand about Rotten Tomatoes, and I've heard people make the mistake, is that Rotten Tomatoes does review movies, but the 18% that is Rotten Tomatoes is not Rotten Tomatoes' review of the movie. It's an aggregate of hundreds of
voting
critics,
on it, right?
Well, maybe not hundreds, but a lot of critics deciding whether the movie is fresh or rotten.
And by now, it's also fans doing it too.
Fans, but that's a separate score.
No, this is the collective altogether.
Oh, okay. Well, usually they have it separated out, so there's a critic score and a fan score.
They do break it out for everything that is within a month worth of opening, and then after that, they just combine everything. You can't go and find the fan and the critic score. Basic instinct. It's all the same now. But yes, this was the combined one that was just on the front page.
Okay.
So.
Well, in general, it's just important to keep in mind that when you're blaming Rotten Tomatoes for being a crappy site or ruining movies or things like that, it's not really Rotten Tomatoes ruining movies. It's very much influenced by the critics. If you take, if you compare two movies, like Batman v Superman and Ghostbusters, I think those came out both last year, right? So
they did.
They would have a guy that gave 4 out of 5 stars to one movie, 4 out of 5 stars to the other movie, and one would be fresh and one would be rotten.
Yes.
And that is a problem with Rotten Tomatoes. But the actual site themselves, all they do is collect the data from the critics. So really, you can't blame them for doing what they do.
Derek adds on to that with his comment. He said that it's based off of like and didn't like. Yeah. There's not too much grayscale. You can't sit there like we say, hey, I give this a C, I give this a B, I give this a minus or a plus. It's just I give it
a pass or a fail,
or I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that adds up.
It does, but it's fair to. I think it's fair. It's a fair way of judging something, and it's probably not super great for the movie studios. But I think for the fans, if 70% of people are saying it's a bad movie,
yes,
that's probably, or even if 70% of critics or fans are saying it's a bad movie, then it probably is a bad movie. I think that IMDb and Metacritic, they do their scoring differently.
Metacritic is just critics.
Yeah,
it is just critics, and
IMDb is fans also.
Yes, it's IMDb users that can be professionals. That's anybody who wants to pay for the IMDb services. I mean, I pay for my DeviantArt. It's the exact same thing. You can pay to be an IMDb user. Metacritic is just critics, and it is a sliding scale. So there's a huge difference between all of these. The number is higher because on IMDb and Metacritic because you can be more wiggle. There's 10 stars you can fill in on IMDb, and you can go in quarters too. So it can be 5 3/4 of a star if you want. And
I think it's important that if you see a movie that you're interested in and you are thinking about going and seeing it, like Dark Tower, maybe you're a fan of the books, and you see that it's an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, it's really important that you go check out one of those other sites before you don't decide to go see it. Because you may be a big fan of it. The things that the critics and everybody hated on Rotten Tomatoes that gave it a fail, it might not be as big of a problem for a more fan-based audience.
And maybe they maybe they didn't read the books, so they didn't understand it, but someone who read the books, like our friend Amber who read the book, she said that she loved the movie.
Yeah.
So, it's give and take here. It's
I went with somebody who loved the books and really disliked the movie. So I mean, but this movie's divisive for the book fans. I think for the movie fans, it's really not that divisive. I think 18% is pretty telling, even if that's critics and it's a pass fail scale. Only 18% of the people actually like that movie.
Agreed.
I take it for what it's worth, but definitely if you're gonna like a movie like this, it's very divisive. Go check Metacritic and IMDb and get before you waste your $9. It might not be a waste.
Right.
I think BVS was one that was done unfairly. This movie I don't think was unfair.
Yeah.
Back in the day, growing up, we only had Siskel and Ebert to really tell us what to do, and these were two old men that hated almost everything.
Which was also a pass fail because it was thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah.
That was it.
There was no in between.
That was it.
Well, I mean, you could get one thumb up and one thumb down, but
even so, they usually agreed, and they were always really rigid and staunchy. You have more options now, so look at all your options. That's why I include the other two, and they usually always have higher scores than Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes is pretty critical, but I mean, it's a lot of it is critic feed. I mean, when you look at a score for a movie that just came out or is just releasing that week, it's going to be all critics because there's very few fan showings compared to the critic showings. So it's that's of course it's going to be critical. It's by critics. That's what they're there for.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've said all that we can say on Dark Tower. Sorry that Derek's not here. He is in the Great White North at this moment. Mm-hmm. I believe he's hunting moose.
Yeah. Hunting moose or maple syrup. I can't remember.
Ooh, what if he's hunting?
Or he might be getting free healthcare. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't discuss the details.
We probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Oh well.
He'll be back.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah, next week we are
Unless
talking...
the moose gets him, but we're hoping that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Next week we're going to talk the top 20 Jedi.
Yeah.
We are including Expanded Universe, and I really feel like Ryan's going to lead us on that one.
Am I?
Yeah.
I mean, I could, probably. Ian's got a very good working knowledge. I talk a lot of crap on Ian, but he does have a very good working knowledge of Star Wars and the Expanded Universe.
Okay.
I feel like...
We'll come back to that with talking...
Front hand, back
Exactly.
hand.
I'm like... Yeah.
Listen, you take what you can get from me. Okay?
That's true. Yes.
We'll have Barry Poole joining us as second-time guest. So
this will be his first time doing a podcast without Batman on it. So that'll be
big round table.
Right. Batman's not a Jedi
yet.
He has used a lightsaber in some fan creation.
That is true.
So we'll be talking that next week. Derek will be joining us. It'll be a big round table of 5 of us. It'll be tons of fun. Ryan, do you have anything for us tonight?
Go give us money on Patreon. I don't have anything because Derek poo-pooed my idea last week. So yeah, patreon.com/heroespodcast. If you want to give us money, that would be awesome. If you don't want to give us money, that's not okay, but, you know, I can't do anything about it because I'm just a disembodied voice to you, so.
Oops. We are Heroes Podcasts on everything.
Well done.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. We're Heroes Podcast. You can check us out. We have
a website, I think, somewhere.
Yeah. We have different content on every single one. We have 3 different shows for you. All right, guys. We'll catch you later. Have a great night.
Bye.